5661 Lake Park Way in La Mesa, Building 3. This is Ian with Build Brothers. Going to go ahead and do a quick inspection here. We're losing light, but I think you can still make it out. Similar to the original building that I was on over there, we do have pretty extreme wear and tear on these shingles with a lot of granule loss. Here on the west facing side of the roof, we can see all of that shine around the edge of the shingle that tells us there's now exposed fiberglass, and these shingles are right at about their lifespan. The ridge caps are starting to give way. When that crack develops down the middle, they start allowing water to get in places it's not supposed to go. And then we do have some busted shingles here and there. Not sure what's going on with my focus here, but there's little chunks of shingles here and there. We do have that dormer vent down low on the roof over here. Looks like we've got some high efficiency water heaters or furnaces that have been installed. That's usually indicated by these PVC pipes coming up through the roof. Those were actually done pretty well. I don't have any issues with those. But more chunks of shingles, always a sign that the roof is wearing out and ready to be replaced. But the smoking gun on this building versus the other one I've been on is absolutely these HVAC pedestals. These things are notorious for creating all kinds of issues, and it looks like these have been leaking for some time. We see mastic applied here and there. We see the corners reinforced. We see some funky kind of techniques as to how the electrical comes up through the roof. That mastic is cracked and causing a leak right there. Come on. The newest iPhone update really did a number to basically everything on this phone. Anyways, now that I see all of these HVAC platforms, pedestals, whatever we want to call them, this is a ton of work that's added to this building. To do it properly, we got to get underneath those each of these air conditioning condensers, and some of these are really old and crusty, and it's like if you look at them wrong, it creates problems. And so it is kind of a liability. Can we do it? Yeah, of course. Do we take on a whole bunch of liability when we have to move these things to get a new roofing membrane on this? In a perfect world, I would say that we do a sheet metal cap on top of each of these platforms. But you know, that's probably a $300 custom sheet metal cap per platform. So that's gonna add pretty substantial cost. What they've got on here now is torch down. Torch down doesn't like bends around the corners, doesn't like bends. And so, you know, what's happened is that those all have to be reinforced with mastic over the years. They put down a nice preformed pad for this one, a newer HVAC condenser, but then it looks like this was leaking, and so it was sealed with mastic to the torch down. And then we see that never lasts. It cracks and pulls away and shrinks, and the problem just comes back after a couple of years. This one's nice and new. I wouldn't have any problems moving that thing. But we look at the torch down underneath it, and yep, it's no surprise that there are issues around each and every one of these. Here's one of the older ones. It's actually making a buzzing noise, and I wouldn't suspect that anybody has their heater or air conditioner on today. What was something else interesting I saw? Oh, this. So those are called gable end vents underneath there. And what the heck are they doing putting gable end vents on a situation like that? It almost looks like this part of the building was added on after the fact, but there's no other indicator that this was added on. So those gable end vents make it tough to properly get counter flashing in. On the other building, we noticed where counter flashing was added, where it needed to be added. Here we'll put it in, but it'll kind of go up into those vents, and luckily we've got the overhang, so it's probably one of the reasons that hasn't leaked, where we've got the shingle to wall transition there. Fascia's bad. We'll go ahead and replace the fascia all along there. And something I didn't point out on last building is that we've got plywood in the overhangs, in the eaves, okay? And so when we nail off the new shingles on this building, it's going to the shortest roofing nails that they make will still penetrate that plywood, and the paint pops. And so even though you've got 1 million nails already exposed in the eaves underneath this overhang, you don't notice it because it's been painted. When this building gets re-roofed, it's gonna, every nail chips the paint, and then the building, you know, then the customer goes, hey, what the heck? Why are all these nails poking through, and why are all this paint chipped? It's inevitable, no matter who does this roof. The plywood is not thick enough so that the nail doesn't penetrate. But yeah, not as badly, the shingles aren't nearly as badly worn as that other building, but it is definitely these guys that are creating the problems, in my opinion.